Hello, I'm Chetos, and this is my appeal video for this clip. But before getting into what happened in that clip, I'd like to explain some things that will help me to explain it better. So, first of all, there are a lot of methods that people use to perform good trackings, but here I will only mention 4 of them. The first method is your raw aim. This method depends on how good are your aiming skills by only moving your mouse. Second method is movement mimicking. There are 2 ways to apply this method. The first way is just by copying the side movements of your opponent, or timing your jump with your opponent's jump. The third method is when you use your mouse to counter your own movement. This is basically when you're moving to any side, so you need to move your cursor to the opposite direction, so you can counter the offset that you're creating by jumping or just moving around. And the fourth method is movement prediction, and this is a method used by learning movement patterns or when you try to predict the next movement of your opponent. Alright, after knowing this, we can go now to the explanation of my evidence. I'll split this in 4 parts: the starting flick, first tracking, when my cursor goes off my opponent, and the second tracking. Okay, so the starting flick. I've been told that the starting flick looks like my cursor used TPs to his torso, but if you put the clip in slow motion, you can clearly see my cursor doesn't TPs. You can see how it goes to him frame by frame. Another reason why it looks like that is because of the frame rate. Yeah, I know the video is at 60 FPS frame rate, and with this frame rate you can see a lot of things pretty smooth. However, if we talk about fast or violent movements, you need a way more higher frame rate to see it smoothly. So if you put the evidence at normal speed, it just looks like it just TPs to his torso. But if it was at a higher frame rate, you wouldn't even think my cursor TP'd. You would probably think that the cursor just moved very fast. Now we go to the first tracking. As I mentioned before, timing your jump with the opponent is a very good method to perform good trackings. And when you do it, you don't have to move your cursor up and down anymore. All you have to do is move it to the sides, correct your arm a little bit, and that's all. And that's what happens here. You put the clip in slow motion, you can see how I jump at the same time as him. So I fall at the same time as him as well. And this is why my aim looks like so steady at the same height. However, after that, I touch the floor first, so my cursor goes a little bit up. It goes from being below his arm to being on his arm. And if I had aim lock, my cursor would stay at the same place, but it doesn't. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I understand that. However, if he timed his jump with his opponent, why did he touch the floor first? Well, this is because of lag. I'm from South America, so my ping is always over 100 ms. Actually, even if you had the lowest ping ever, and you do the perfect time jump ever, eventually that perfection will start to fade away. What I'm trying to say here is that on my screen, my opponent was still falling down when I touched the floor. And if I had aim lock, in that situation, my cursor will go down instead of up. But it doesn't, it goes up. And something else that you can't notice, not even with the slowest speed in Metal TV or YouTube, is that my cursor stays behind of his movement for a few milliseconds. And what this means is that I didn't even do a perfect tracking. I did something not even near to perfection. I don't even lock my cursor on his torso, because not even my cursor is completely on the center of him. And as I just showed, my cursor stays behind him for a few milliseconds. So the first tracking is not aim lock, and it's not even near to perfection. Okay, now we go to the part when my cursor goes off my opponent, and this is the principal reason why I'm getting accused of toggling. Then it's because just after an almost perfect track on him, my cursor goes off, and almost immediately I perfectly track him again. And this isn't because I toggled, is because I thought he was going to stop jumping and then go to behind cover. So what I do is move my cursor down to control my jumping, as I said before. But when I do this, I see him jumping to the left, so I correct my aim, mimic his movement again to track him, and then kill him. And you probably notice that I also go to the right when I try to predict his movement. But the reason why I do this is because I'm not crazy to open count as a cheater, because that guy was riches using an ult. So I try to go to the right to also go away of his shooting range. But as soon as he starts to open contest me again, I can't do anything else and just keep fighting, so I just go back to it. And finally, now we go to the second tracking. And this is almost the same as the first one, but with the difference that instead of only timing my jump, so we follow at the same time, I also mimic his side movement. So all I have to do is leave my cursor there so my keyboard does the tracking. And if you watch closely, I don't even move my cursor at all. And this is because I knew I was tracking him with my keyboard. I can even draw a line from my cursor to the top of the clip, and another one from my cursor to the side of the clip, and you can see how it doesn't even move at all. This is because of movement mimicking, so I'm not unlocking, I'm just doing the same movement as him, and that's why it looks so smooth when I track him like that. My point by explaining all of this is to prove that this clip is not made by external programs. Humans are capable of doing these kind of things with the correct reaction and skill. So yeah, I did this, and humans are capable of doing this. Maybe these kind of things are hard to do, but they're not impossible. Probably someone else can do it even better than me. But the thing is, a human can do this, and I don't use any kind of cheats or exploits to have advantage over other players. It makes no sense that only because of one clip I'm a cheater, and I know there are cheaters that got exposed by only one clip, but in these kind of clips you can see blatant trackings or obvious advantages that are considered cheats. But in my case, the low quality of the clips doesn't help you to track the path of my cursor to make sure I'm M-locking. Also, I'm an active member of Metal TV, so you can see that I've performed before in other clips, and I think I have like 2 recordings of myself showing Task Manager and the full gameplay, and my performing hasn't changed at all. So yeah, I think that's it. This is my opinion video for Xtracker.